Welcome to the Isle Chat podcast with me, Beth,
Josh
and Ryan.
This podcast is all about exploring the big questions, the small moments and everything in between.
Whether you're stuck at the shops, in traffic or just looking for some inspiration, our chat is here to keep you engaged.
It's time to talk, connect and find meaning in those everyday moments.
Welcome to the Isle Chat.
Did New Balance give you them?
New Balance did not give me them.
Oh, okay.
Sadly.
I've heard about New Balance giving gifts out to
I'm still
athletes
waiting.
like yourself.
I'm still waiting for my New Balance stuff.
Are you getting stuff?
It might be. I think the idea was that anyone who's doing the run in question was getting something.
Okay.
She had a bit of a bad time with it though, which I won't go into, where people have been putting pressure on her saying like, where's our stuff and all that.
Sorry, Hannah, for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah. Not a big deal or anything like that, but I'm not bothered. I just said, like I said to her, I was just inspired by having that conversation
That's
around people getting
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And like if they then did get something even better, it's like a bonus point.
Imagine being a company where you can ambassador for get people in, as ambassadors. Where
to
you
wear
can,
your stuff.
Yeah. And then just say to them, your whole gym can have stuff for free.
I know.
I just thought, because you represent New Balance.
I know, I don't know if it's like subconsciously since she's started talking about New Balance that I've become accustomed to spotting it online and like stuff. This is no relevance.
Welcome back to the wedding podcast.
No relevance to a wedding podcast.
It's just interesting though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because,
it's just real life, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone... That's what he was talking about anyway.
Code the Isle Chat and you get
20% off at New Balance. Thanks, New Balance. Shout out. How are you?
I'm good. Feeling a little bit... It was Mother's Day yesterday, innit? So all our hard...
Was it?
Mothers... Yeah, it was.
No,
Did you have a fun time, Beth?
Mother's Week.
I had a lovely time. I felt really, really spoilt. I just feel like just the little things just mean so much more on Mother's Day, like a cup of tea in bed.
Did you get a cup of tea in bed?
I did get a cup of tea in bed,
Hey?
which is rare because normally I'm up first. So
Well, one day of the year you're allowed. One.
Nice one for telling everyone, Beth, giving me the credit.
But also, I got me Elmer's cleansing balm, which obviously Lucy has mentioned in her previous podcast for those who need to listen to it.
I was
Josh
listening.
took the hint and got me that, so I was made up.
I'm actually really surprised at you for taking a bit of initiative. I don't even know you these days.
Surprise myself sometimes, So thanks, Lucy, for the little recommendation. Went down a treat. How did your Mother's Day go?
It's alright, yeah.
Becky spoilt.
Becky was spoiled. I kept on saying to her.
Emphasise it.
I did. I keep on saying to her, you are one spoiled bitch. I'm allowed to say bitch.
We'll bleep that out.
Yeah, no, it's alright. No, I just kept on saying it, but yeah, she deserves to be spoiled like all mothers do. You know, they put a big shift in, don't they? So,
yeah,
most of the time, more than the dads do.
Do you know from your end of the stick, obviously related to weddings and stuff like that, I seen a lot of yesterday, brides posting their wedding photos of the mum.
Of the mums, yeah.
Did you see any of yours appear on the feeds?
Loads, yeah.
It's nice, that, isn't it?
It is nice, actually. I always think like that. Anytime anyone posts your pictures after you've given them back and they've did that initial reveal to everyone going, oh look, here's my wedding pictures. If somewhere down the line, even a year, maybe more later, they use them, I'm thinking, now they actually do care about them, because I think there's this your own psychology going in your mind, and I've seen a few other creators talk about this, where it's you build that up to oh, I hope they like them and I hope they're gonna love them and I hope they'll cherish them forever, and then you don't know if they actually do or don't until you see things like that. It became who was it that started off? I think it was Sally.
Yes.
So when Sally started this little mini trend off not too long ago, which I hope will come back.
Hope you're listening, Sally, for this.
She posted her she'd got something made for a wall, she'd framed a load of them up, but it was a bit of a collage, let's just call it that. And I reshared it and went, oh my god, love it when people do this, when you can actually see your work up in their homes as a pride to place type of thing.
Yeah. And
3 or 4 people off the back of it done the same thing, went, oh yeah, here's mine. And I shared them to the stories, and for about a week
you were just getting
it was just, and then since then as well, every now and again you get one trickle through the net where someone goes, oh yeah, it is ours on a farm wall.
That, from a video point of view, I'm just waiting for that day where people start having iPads on the wall just playing the trailer constantly.
Well, they have them that you
the book things,
the little book things,
yeah.
You've seen them, obviously I think anyone who's in our little space or all connected to will have seen them little Instagram ads with the little book that opens and you just press play.
I must be honest, I am tempted to trial it.
I was tempted.
But I don't know what work's involved. I think it is literally just a USB or an SD what goes into it. I just don't know how long term they would last. I think they'd be very... I don't know. I'd have to reach out to people who use them and say how long did they last. I would imagine them not
Maybe
having a
we'll
long
like
life.
trial it with someone.
Yeah.
You know, someone who gets our like joint package, say, for example, there's a little shout here. Joint package, for example,
Us.
which we do have. We might trial one with you and just let us know. You
Yeah.
know, and then like somewhere down the line, we could maybe go, oh yeah, this is an option or an extra or whatever. Or people could probably
Good
just,
idea, that.
Or people could probably just buy them
I
themselves.
was about to say.
Save
We're
themselves the extra
just
expense.
giving money away for nothing there. No, but I don't know how much they are as well. I think, are they like...
They're not cheap.
No.
We have digital picture frames, don't we? Which is essentially the same thing. It just looks a little bit more aesthetically nice, the way they've done it. But
Back to your photo on the wall thing, obviously, because of just
'Cause we're
this
set up
angle
here,
is
it
awful
looks-
behind the
I
scenes.
know.
All I can see is
Yeah.
Ryan's egg in the nest.
Oh, she's done you dirty. You'll have to bleep that.
I'm only
do you know what, right?
He's insecure
I'm
about this.
sensitive about this. And my mates will have a field day with that, to be fair. Go on, anyway.
Anyway,
So what
we
I was
were
saying
really
is,
interrupted.
I know, sorry, but for me,
Why
the
are you so
only
red for?
I know.
Touch the earth there, don't worry.
For me, the only similar situation I've had, because obviously with film, everyone normally watches it on anniversaries or when you receive it, and then it's normally just yearly
Yeah, that's
from
what I
then.
mean, yeah.
But quite recently, I see one of our past grooms in our local chippy. Shout out Chans. And it was just a random day of the week, and he actually known Mr. and Mrs. Nika.
Oh, yes.
And he actually said to me, oh my God, we've just watched it then. And it was just like a random day, and I thought, oh, isn't that lovely? Because to me, I just think, oh, they just watch it on anniversaries. And he was like, yeah, we just had the family round, we just watched it all again.
Isn't that nice?
It was lovely, yeah.
At the chippy.
I know.
Shout out Chance. What a shout out that was, by the way.
Well, if anyone's
Chans, if you
listening
wanna
from
send-
Chans, we really appreciate it. No,
We're going to send some special fried rice down, we're keen.
next time I'm in, no free bottle of Coke and all that.
Yeah.
It is that thing, isn't it? I think I know the guest on we're having today, we're going to probably speak a lot about the photo and film side of things, like what it means on someone's day. But I always think it is nice when couples do get in touch. No, I know we have mentioned it briefly on the podcast before, and saying like when they do get in touch,
It goes a long way.
It does go a long way to us,
Massively.
doesn't it?
The amount of times, and I don't know if this happens to you, but like the amount of times you give it back, you've put like what you feel is your heart and soul into something, and then like there's
just that.
you don't even get like
Silence.
sometimes a thanks, which as we've said before is not an issue. Like we know we've done our job, we've done what we said that we would do, so that's fine. But like just that little message, just go, do you know what, we love them. That's enough. That's enough for me. So if you haven't sent me feedback yet,
Speaking about feedback, the feedback we got from the last video we put out on our socials at the
the friends
yeah.
thing.
friend thing. How was? Well, we were all here, weren't we? That day when we
The
put it
funniest part
out.
about this, and we seem to be doing this over and over again now, is that we're talking about something that is to be released before it's being released.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
but
Like,
at this point,
the trailer's
people-
out.
Yeah, the trailer's out.
The full video at this point isn't out, so it just seems funny in my mind.
But yeah, it went down well. I think
I felt like I had so many people who I didn't think would listen to the podcast, or whether they don't and they just seen the clip, but so many people said to me like, oh my God, your podcast, I love it, and I thought, do you even listen to it? Which was
I
nice,
think
really.
I am surprised over and over again about the people who do listen to it, or if you see someone who you might have thought listened to it, but they probably didn't take that much time listening to it, and then similar to what our guest has just done before, went, oh, I've seen that bit in that episode, and you think,
Yeah.
how people actually do listen to it, because it's such a like frontal thing from us.
Yeah.
The only thing we're using it to measure it off is like the metrics or the analytics on like the platforms, but that doesn't really say who. It just says like where and how. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
You are right.
It is nice, like.
So keep getting in touch. Let us know.
We do.
when-
There is at the end, and if you listen to this now, this is a good little take home for you. At the end of the podcast on both YouTube and Spotify, there is a little spot you can actually submit your feedback if you want.
Yeah.
And
Just let
as we
us know.
said, we'll always guide this podcast based on what the audience seem to want or like. So the more you tell us about what you want and like, the more we can gear it in that direction. So that other people will like it.
No more wedding dresses though. We're all done for putting wedding dresses on.
I don't know if I liked it. A few of my mates thought like, oh lad, what do you do with that? And I was like, it's comfy.
It was surprisingly
The freedom
comfy.
around your legs, especially when you're wearing tight pants all the time, is just a different level.
When I see my mates yesterday, they turned around and went, I feel sorry for whoever goes in and tries to buy the dress that you were wearing.
Yeah. Is that one that lad wore?
Especially the one that was worn by the big bad wolf from Shrek, which was you.
Was it me?
Yeah.
I know.
That's what a photo in of you and the wolf from Shrek. Because it was
The funniest thing though is you were like, obviously when you were putting the dresses on, you were like holding yourselves like you were trying to keep
Well,
all
we've seen it all
dignified and
before.
keep
We've
yourself in. I was like,
We've
are
seen
these
how people put
wrestling?
dresses on and say, I think subconsciously we were just acting out.
You were
our, like,
embodied, having like...
we were brides for the day.
We were, luckily.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, obviously, Nothing else to add before we go and just get straight into having our guest on? Anything else to add?
I don't think we did anything else. Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
That was it.
That was it.
Mother's Week.
Mother's Week. Well, it was International Women's Day, wasn't it? But it was
Yeah.
International Women's Week because most places made a week out of it, which is fine, by the way. Not that I'm like proper spouting it. No, but I remember on the Monday
Women's
of
Day?
last week, and they went, "Oh yeah, we've got a load of female artists on today to celebrate International Women's Day," and I was like, "Oh, sound, it's today for Friday." And so they had the International Women's Week, which is fine. I'm all right with that.
Let you off.
Yeah, you're all right. You do run the world. To be
Keep
fair.
listening, please.
Who run the world, girls? Is typically the lyrics.
Do you like getting called Steve? Or
Yeah.
full
Well,
time?
Yeah, I wasn't sure actually.
I always say I do prefer Steve. That's my name. But
The business.
when it's like such a northwest thing. Like when I'll be going around to like be doing a wedding in Suffolk or something, I'll be like, "Hi, what's your name?" Like Steve, and they go, "Steve."
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Steve, and I go, "Yeah, Steve."
Full title.
And then they go,
Steve.
"Why did he say Steve like that? He's weird." And I'm like, "Oh, it's just easier for me to. I can't be bothered explaining Steve. It's just like a northwest thing. I think in Newcastle it's Steve's a thing as well.
Yeah.
But it seems to be like Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, and everywhere else is like Ste. Or people said, "What does STE stand for on your website?" Forget it.
Boss.
That's why I'm called.
That was a good bit, that.
I know, yeah.
We got
So
that.
that's why my business name is Stephen Walker Photography, the full Stephen.
Pro.
Because if it's Steve Walker Photography, people have said to me, what's STE Walker
Steve.
Photography?
I was just getting like the Steve
That's the
Madden.
maddest thing I've ever heard. But then I guess it is mad to us, but not for the further afield folk. Let's just say.
Ste? Would you prefer Ste or
Is it Stay how they pronounce your name?
forget it?
Stay. Go on.
Stove.
Stove. Steve.
Steve. Obviously, another guest on. This is the thing that we do now, innit? Guest every week. This guest for me, though, I think it's like the closest to home.
Yeah.
Because they're like very, very, very similar to what we do in our substantial field. But as always, the little write-up. I think what I should do is rehearse this
You don't need to rehearse it.
beforehand. But I think people
that.
know
I love
that
how raw it is. that
we
you've got a phone.
are going to have on our... that
Go on.
actually isn't the thing. So yeah, I remember the first time I came across this person's Instagram account. This was the initial interaction. In honesty, wasn't even that long ago, and I remember feeling a little bit stupid for not knowing who he was beforehand.
I knew.
Don't want to get done in for that. It was very clear though to see that this person had been shooting weddings for a long time and all over the world for that matter, so that's why I felt a little bit stupid. But I've had this conversation with other people before about like how sometimes I feel a bit like shuttered in. I don't really see anything else that's going on besides my own world. Anyway, after a quick Insta stalk, I moved onto his main website, his web website, and I think it was there that I really started to find inspiration. Got a real sense of who he was behind his brand, and it made me feel that I could just send a blind DM to say hello. So I was slipping into his DMs. It was met with nothing but kindness, but it quickly followed up to a lifeline of hints and advice provided in my direction. And if I'm at all close to being on the same path as this person, I feel like I've made it as a photographer. But it's our friend and creator crush, Stephen Walker.
Too kind. Thank you for that. Yes.
He does rehearse that all week, to be fair. He
Done
writes
it
it.
last night. But yeah. How are you, mate?
I'm really good.
We've just established there, by the way, for the people, it's Stephen Walker Photography, but we can call him Steve because he's
Call
our
him
mate.
Steve. Anyone from Northwest Steve? Anyone else? Stephen.
Yeah, Stephen.
Yeah.
Let's not get it confused. How's things?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, Mother's Day. You just been speaking about that before,
Yeah.
so been busy with that. And it was my wife's 40th birthday on Wednesday. It was my 40th birthday about 3 weeks ago.
Happy birthday.
It's my mother-in-law's birthday today. So
Dear
it's
mum.
just been birthdays, meals,
Yeah.
gifts, people sorting stuff out. So it's just been
Catching
just
up with
been
everyone and
manic,
seeing,
yeah.
like, celebrating
And
stuff.
talk about this later, but I'm starting a new business as well on the side, and then I've got my own business to do, and then some people invited me onto a podcast, so it's just been one thing after another. So
yeah.
it's been busy.
These annoying people with these podcasts.
Just
Do you know what? It's funny because I think like this time last year, I literally said this to someone last night. This time last year, I felt like I had loads of free time and loads of space to just do the things that I wanted to do, like go out and do photo walks or like update me socials or whatever. But I feel like, and I don't know if you can agree, like this year for some reason just seems like amplified in terms of like what you're doing. Everyone just seems shocker, constant.
it's crazy because we haven't filmed a wedding all this year. I don't know about yourself or like shooting a wedding. We haven't shot nothing yet, and I still feel like we haven't had that break.
There hasn't been a break.
And weddings are about to start happening for us in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, I haven't had a break. Next week, yeah.
Oh, my first one's next week.
Next week.
16th?
No, sorry. So ours is the 21st. Sorry. So ours is
2 weeks.
10 days. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm thinking about me. I've got one on the 16th as well.
So that's the Thursday, and sorry.
Yeah.
I was just presuming it was a weekend.
Yeah, it just feels this. I think out of all the years, I've sort of felt like we had a little break. Would you say, Beth?
Yeah, like we haven't had one at all.
So it's gonna.
Apart from our little week in Egypt.
Yeah, but we took work with us.
And a few days in Paris at Christmas.
Yeah. It's allowed, isn't it? It's Christmas.
No one works. No one works at Christmas.
We're going to Cyprus in a couple of weeks. Do you know what I mean?
All right. Yeah. We'll add it all.
So the staff being to Tesco in London.
Shout out Tesco.
Yeah.
So you're looking forward to getting back into the weddings?
Yeah, I am excited. I'm not. I wouldn't say I was nervous about my first wedding, even though like I've been doing it for a while. But like once you've not, sometimes like now subconsciously I think I don't even know what buttons I'm gonna press. Just like when I'm getting there, and even I kept my jacket hanging on me hanger in the back of the car because I didn't want it creased when I was driving, and I do that when I go to weddings as well. So when I was getting out the car here, I felt like the same. I was like, I'm going to be doing this again soon. Where I've got to get it out, and then obviously normally I'll go straight into bride prep, but I was coming straight here. But it was the same like little nerves.
There's like we've said this, haven't we? It's like being like match fit, isn't it? You know, you know what you're meant to do. You know exactly what you're going into because you've done it so many times before. But it's when you're in that like heavy season, if you like, it just becomes so like.
I love that. I love that footy reference.
It's just a footy reference. That's you know, from my point of view. That's the only way I can kind of describe it for like the lads out there or girls. If you play footy, like there's a sharpness to it, isn't it?
There is,
yeah, the mental anticipation.
That's
for
what it is.
Someone like Ronaldo, like even at the end of the season, when it's the first game of the season. Well, maybe not now because he's whatever. But
doesn't bother now.
But if it's the first game of the season for an experienced Premier League footballer, the first match, and the ref's like 10 seconds away from blowing the whistle, he's going to feel different before that whistle than he is like halfway through the season for a midweek game, isn't he? It's just what it's like.
Yeah, I am excited to get back into it.
I feel like it gives you a higher sense of, not that you don't have this at home because everyone got families and stuff, but like it gives you a higher sense of purpose for like what each day looks like and what each week looks like. You just feel there's a bit more structure, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely it does, and I love doing weddings. Otherwise, I wouldn't be filming them.
That's the other part as well, isn't it?
You love doing it.
I have missed them.
We've spoken about it a few times, haven't we? Saying how much we've missed it, and I think even doing this podcast has given us something to look forward to because we're constantly talking about it. Still,
we're staying in our minds in the wedding game, aren't we?
That's good just to get into the craft as well, because we've got to run businesses as well. That's what we do, and it's easy to start overthinking stuff like, is my marketing right? Have I got to do more of this? Have I got to set up ads? Have I got to do more SEO? Have I got to network more? And you can start overthinking these things, and then you check your emails and there's not an inquiry there, and you think, am I doing things right? Am I doing things wrong? But when you're out there shooting, doing what you love, you're not thinking about
you forget all of that. Don't
you? Really not.
Like
you're just absorbing it then, aren't you? Yeah.
I think your marketing's great though. It's interesting for me to, from an outsider looking in, like you think the way I think as well. Even though when I look at your work, I'm like, oh my god, this, we said this. We literally said this.
We literally said this last week that for us, you seem to be someone who you can, like, from a creator's point of view, aspire to be like. Because and even I just alluded to it a little bit there. And when I went on your website, everything just seemed to be right. Like it was just.
It's like you've mastered it now. You've got to the point where
it read to me like if I was a Brad, I couldn't go on that website and come off and not go, he's our photographer. Do you know what I mean?
I remember the podcast that I watched it, the bit where you were saying about people going on about smashing it, and it's like, oh, people say you're smashing it, but they don't see. It's like seeing a swan.
Everyone
has
the same
thoughts. A perfect
thoughts.
swan and going, how gorgeous is that? Just elegantly gliding across the lake, but its legs are going.
Yeah.
So that's
Swan when it gets home in the mirror's like, I hate myself. These feathers.
Leg days done me in today. No, but I'm glad you said it, if I'm totally honest with you, because we don't get to speak all the time and be like, what's going on? Are you getting inquiries?
Especially with people who are directly the exact same as you, like definitely. The polar opposite.
Yeah. Like I worry about getting work all the time, and do you know what I mean? And I mean, I've got bookings that I need or whatever, but like this is my whole income and my whole world, and something I love to do. And it's obviously I want to get more work so I can get money to live off, but I want to get work because you get that little sort of, when people book you, like I had a Zoom just last night, and the couple were like, "Oh, we looked at like hundreds of other photographers, and then we saw yours, and we were like, oh, this is the guy." And in my head, I'm going, "Are you mad?
Yeah.
There's so
It's
many
crazy,
amazing
isn't it?
photographers out there."
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
going, "Listen, there's 200 people out there, book them. Like the work's great," and I get quite like sort of
Imposter syndrome or
like,
overwhelmed,
you
yeah.
know, why are they picking me? And I'm proud of my work and stuff, but that's what I love, and when people book me, it's like dead proud feeling, like I love it.
No, it is good. I think, like you just said there, especially if someone's went through like a little list, wasn't he that girl not too long ago who said like, I had a list of 50 photographers and I've whittled it down to 10 and then I whittled it down to 5 and then you're in the last 3, and it makes you feel like you've been in a bit of a talent competition. It does, like, I think because what we do is we're always like our own worst critics, and it's our own fault really, because we're always second guessing our own tones and feelings and thoughts about what it is that we do, because we love it so much, which is why. But then when you hear that type of like talk where people have like selected you out of, because like you say, there's thousands out there, it's like,
what's the more like
pat on the back for yourself a little bit.
But I was
going
going to say, what's the more proud feeling sometimes is, do they book you for your work, or do they book it because it's you? Like, what makes it more like of a proud feeling? Is it both? Because it's a tough one, isn't it?
I think a balance of both.
Because you want it to be your work, because
you want it to be your work,
like,
because that's
your talent, your skill,
that's your bread and butter. But then you want it to be you because you find that it's more personal then straight away. I think you're not just there and turning up to do a job, essentially.
Yeah, you want them to be like, oh, there's Josh, there's Ryan, there's Steve. You're not like, oh, there's the photographer.
Yeah, the combination things is really important, because like when they come to your website, they've got to love the photos to want to be able to want to have you at their wedding. But then the Zoom call is just important, and I think I've got like an affable persona, and I want that to come across on the Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And if I was going to book someone, imagine you just seen someone and you thought, oh my god, look at this work, it's amazing, and then you had a Zoom call and they were just a bit like stale, and I think a bit like you'd be like, yeah, their work's good, but I just don't want them at my wedding.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, really, because I think a lot of couples fall into that impression sometimes where they go on someone's website, the work's amazing, they don't do a Zoom with them, they don't have a call consultation, they don't do anything beforehand, they just go, yeah, want a book. And then when it comes to paying the final deposit or remaining balance or whatever, and they get the like Zoom consultation then, and they meet them and they go, oh, we've badly misjudged this, I completely, because your website said this, but you as an individual who I'm speaking to right now isn't the same. So anyone who is listening as a bride and groom, good idea to always have
meet
like
vendors.
Meet the vendors and speak to them beforehand, even if it's just a Zoom
I
call.
think I do my better work. I don't choose who I work harder for. Obviously, I do my best 100% at every wedding. But there's so almost like I'm somehow able to subconsciously go to an 11 if if I know the couple just absolutely love me and they're just like, oh, we can't wait when they're excited for me to be at their wedding, like, we're so excited for you, Steve.
We feel that sometimes,
and then I might get a couple that just go, yeah, we just like your work, so we just want to book you,
which is fine.
They're getting 10 out of 10 service, absolutely. And I don't pick and choose this 11, by the way. I don't want any of my any couples that have put me on a whim. I haven't just done it.
You turn up in the morning and go, are we 11 today? Or are we doing 10?
Set yourself a little higher.
Maybe I'm always a 10.5.
Yeah.
But then sometimes for couples, sorry to just interrupt you. Sometimes for couples, I think like they pick their photographer or videographer based on like their friends and think, oh yeah, like we'll get my friend to do it, or yeah, they seem alright, we'll do it. And then the work's awful, or not awful, or it's like not their style, not what they wanted, they've missed off shots because of certain things, and just think like it's so important, like you're saying, to get the balance, to actually have a look, because it's your wedding day and like you want your pictures and your videos are all you're left with.
Chances, is there?
Yeah, that day comes around once and I say you can't redo it.
In a small way, I think this is why we said about why this was so important. It was not just to be its own thing and its own platform for other people that we know within our industry to show their selves behind their brands. That's like the whole gear of it. But for us, so that people can, I don't know why I'm on my phone, so that people can see.
Phones for you.
All these inquiries. There's none, by the way. We said, like, if we could put ourselves and our personalities out there more to our clients before they've booked us, it will help us be those 11s that you've just referred to, because we know they're not just booking us for our work, they're also booking us for us. So that in another way was why this was so important to us, so we can show ourselves off, so people don't get a different version of what turns up today, because this is just us, isn't it? Like, this is just who we are all the time, and this is again why we want other vendors to come on and like speak about themselves, so that people can see themselves, who they know they're getting.
Because your personality affects the pictures as well, and
massively,
and video. Sorry, in like a massive way. Because like if I'm just picturing myself, I don't know why this wedding came to my head. I did one down in Suffolk, and they hired this private place out with a pool, and it was dead nice. And I just got on with all the the bridesmaids dead well. I was having a laugh with them, and it was just like trying to just let it flow naturally, but I could get involved as and when and speak to people, and you know, it was like it's almost like a two-way thing when I'm making the pictures. Although I just let it happen naturally, you know, I need them to trust me, and I trust them, and I don't know where I'm going with this. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent.
No, but I was just going to say, though, I wasn't going to interrupt you, but I was going to say, obviously I don't want to take it to like the origin story, but we always like to speak about like how you got into it and stuff, and you mentioned about you being like natural and making it as natural as possible. So I think it probably would be a good time to mention your origin story and to see what your style is as a photographer. That's all right?
Yeah, sure.
Right, strap yourselves in.
So how I started, is that
yeah, do you know what? I love that, you know, everyone goes, where's the
How
start?
far back do you want to go?
I know,
My mum and dad met. And,
the rest is history.
Leave that part out.
Yeah. But yeah, how did you get into photography? How did you get into the wedding industry?
So I've always been I love business. I love the business side of it, and I remember going, and I'm going to go way back to when I was like 12.
As far back as you want.
I'm going back as far as 12, but we won't do all of the years.
Yeah.
But I used to, I just love business, and when I used to get my dinner money off my mum in the morning, I used to go to the shop on the way to school, and whatever sweets were like buy one get one free, I'd buy them sweets, take them to school, and sell them at like 80% RRP at school, and almost like double me dinner money. And I don't know. I used to love doing that, and it wasn't like I was making loads of money. I couldn't do loads
like
of the
50p
money.
in that.
Right now, I'm going to reinvest it, and that wasn't some like mad businessman. Do you know what I mean? It was just more for the fun of it. Like, do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just think I've always had that entrepreneurial thing in me somewhere. And then when I left school, I joined the military. When I was on my 17th birthday, I joined the Air Force.
Lovely.
I was in the Air Force for 16 years.
Wow, I never knew that.
I didn't see that coming either. Yeah.
I travelled all over the world and did loads of stuff there. So I think the whole being in the military, the discipline side of things, helped me in just hard work, working with other people, meeting other people, and like, you know, I'd be working with people with like, you know, a 50-year-old from London and a 27-year-old from Sunderland and a 35-year-old from Cardiff, and it's like, you know, you just got a job to do, get on with it. And, you know, teamwork's massive in the military, and you just get on with it and you meet new people. So that helps when I'm meeting new people on Zoom calls and at weddings, and I can just connect with people quite quickly because I've been in that thing. So I'm just talking about all the things, the pieces of the puzzle that sort of led me to be able to become a wedding photographer. So, and then when I was in the military, I started doing family photography on the side. I was actually living in Cyprus at the time. And I had a half decent camera because I like taking photos and of just nothing really. Just
So did you have? So just to bust in
Honestly,
there,
I'm just blown away by like.
I'm sitting here. You might have noticed I'm sitting here like that, like proper melting on this. But like just to make it more of like an interviewee thing.
No, go away.
Did you already have like? I won't say the word a passion, but did you already have an idea of like how to use a camera and stuff like that before
Like,
you decided?
Oh, no, man. Like my cameras would be like just on automatic. Like, and I'm talking about like, when did I buy like a first decent camera? Maybe like 2010 or something like that. And when I say decent camera, I'm talking about like 300 quid
entry
camera.
level. Yeah,
not even
SLR.
No, not even that.
Digital.
Like, just like a little pocket
compact
digital camera.
Argos.
For like like an Argos. 300 quid.
The lens light comes out.
Yeah. So
love them cameras.
Not to discredit Argos, by the way.
I know,
yeah. So when I was in Cyprus, I had one of those cameras, and I used to just like taking pictures. If we like went out and did
Station
stuff, like
somewhere nice. Yeah.
We went quad biking or something. I'd just love taking photos, and then I'd put them all together with a slideshow to music, and you know, just send it to everyone. And I just used to love taking pictures. But I was not a photographer. I just liked taking pictures.
like documenting your like adventures, basically.
Yeah, sort of. But it wasn't like, oh, I need me camera. I just like to be. I just like. Don't know, just taking pictures, and I don't know. Guess maybe I've always been a little bit of a creative like that. Maybe I don't know,
but would you say like the military helped you blend the two, like this like entrepreneurial sense, you kind of customer facing, if you want to call it that, about dealing with different people, and then this photo part kind of came in, and it was just like a fate type of thing?
Looking back, not at the time, I wasn't a conscious thing like, oh, I've got this military thing and I'm good with the camera. That would be a good idea. I could combine them to make a business. Looking back now, it sort of makes sense. But I think when I upgraded my camera, because I thought, I came into, do you remember the PPI thing first started? I was like one of the first people to jump on that, and I got like a car loan when I was like 17. I was like signing all
Grand.
sorts and that. So I got a bit of money. I thought, I've got some money. I'm going to buy a nice camera. So I think I bought a Canon 600D with SLR interchangeable lenses. And then I thought, I was like,
Heads fell off.
David Bailey, look out.
Here he is.
They were like nothing to me. I was like, I am the man now with this camera. I am the photographer.
It's funny, as soon as you can detach a lens, isn't it? Your head's like, I've made it.
I remember like I bought like a zoom lens on it. I remember taking a picture with it at work. I was just messing around and I was like showing it to people and I was like, why would you ever need a better camera than that? Like, look at that picture.
Aesthetical, innit?
And it was just a zoomed in picture with like a wide open aperture, like, do you know what I mean?
I know.
But so someone asked me, I used to start taking photos of just like me dog, go on the beach, whatever, just taking photos. And then my mate had twins and said to me, Stay, you're good at taking pictures. Will you take some pictures of my twin girls for me? We're going to take them down the beach. So I took some pictures of them. And then someone else said, will you take some pictures of my kids? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then someone else asked me and I was like, hang on a minute. So
when there's a will, there's a way. And
so I set up a little, I set up a little Facebook page and I just started charging like €20 a shoot. Do you know what I mean? And then I thought,
so you're still in Cyprus at this point, yeah?
Yeah, still in Cyprus.
I was going to say, I was picturing like the beaches over here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like wind blown, like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Thornby Beach.
Excuse me. Yeah. So it just started. Then I just started doing a bit of family photography, and it wasn't too long after that I moved back to the UK, and then I moved back to a town called Stamford in Leicestershire, Rutland. It's on the corner of like 4 counties.
Shout out Rutland.
Yeah.
Get that in.
So and then I started doing loads of family photography on the side, which I like doing, and I started making like a little bit of good pocket money, should I say, doing these family things. And then a couple of RAF mates were getting married and said, will you do the pictures for me? So I was like, this is a bit shooting a wedding.
This is the moment with it all
different this. Was you still on your one lens, one camera at this point?
Yeah. And then I did a wedding for a mate, and I said I'll just do it for free because I just...
Sorry, sir. What lens was it?
24-70.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You could do the full it with that anyway, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Start off as well.
And and then I did another wedding for another guy in the RAF who I charged a bit of money for, and I think he asked me how much it was, and I just panicked and just said 200 quid because I thought, that's 200 quid, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then when they gave me the money at the end of the day, because they paid me in cash, I was like,
oh my God, as if that's just happened.
Like,
50 G's, baby!
I felt like I've just robbed these because I've just been taking pictures. It's been great.
Honestly.
I was looking at the money thinking,
no. Especially, I think when it's generated from something that you've created, that money just seems more valuable than like real money, if that makes sense.
It's crazy. It is,
especially when like
crazy.
the most ordinary jobs pay you like a certain set salary. So anything that you see other than your salary money is like, wow, it's like mind-blowing money, isn't it? Like you say, even if it is 200 quid or more.
My little life story of that was when I was working with Joanna at that time and we were having our food, and I said to her, like, I was there doing a freebie, basically just filming the day, first ever wedding, and I said to her, like, how much are you getting paid for today, if you don't mind me asking, because obviously I haven't got a clue how this works. And she went, £1,600. And I just went, and I was probably working in a job that paid me like £400 a month at the time, and I remember just being like, what I'm doing today, you're doing that, and you're charging. And she was like, yeah, but she didn't even like bat an eyelid when she said that. So I was in the same realm as you, where £200 was like, oh, and I was there for free, and I was like, oh.
Yeah,
so
couldn't believe it. But like I was doing a bit more family photography at the side, and that was my thing. And at the time, me and my missus wanted to like start a family, and in the RAF I used to go away quite a lot, getting deployed and stuff. And I didn't really want to be doing that whilst I had a kid and stuff.
Kids,
and I've always wanted to move back to Liverpool because I left when I was like 17.
Yeah.
So always wanted to move back. So I said to me missus, I wonder if I could do this family thing, because I think I was getting like 300 quid for like a family shoot for like all the digital files.
Yeah.
I thought, I wonder if I could do it like full time. So tried doing that, and then I applied to leave the RAF. You've got to wait 12 months to get out. So during that time, I was trying to do as much money and generate as much income as I could on the side doing the family photography. And then I started getting a few inquiries for more weddings, but I was like, well, I don't know these other people who are inquiring. I did a few RAF ones, but maybe I'll just take them to get the money in. But then by the time I'd left, so when a year came, the family thing was just like, it's like hand to mouth. It's like how much money is a family photographer going to make next August?
Yeah.
20. He doesn't know, does he?
No,
He
of
doesn't
course.
know.
It's just a monthly thing, isn't it?
So I thought, well, it's just a bit more secure to do weddings. So luckily, me and my missus moved in with me mum. She said we could just move in because there's no way I could leave and generate enough money to rent. So I think in my first year after I left the RAF, my photography business, I made about £7,000 in the whole year. And then obviously it just went incremental up from there each year. But it wasn't like a massive jump the following year. It's been a slow, but I was quite lucky because a lot of people say, how'd you go? A good question in this industry is how'd you go from like part-time to full-time?
Yeah.
But I was lucky. I didn't have a mortgage or anything, do you know what I mean? Or I didn't have huge responsibilities like that. I could just live with me as soon as I lived with my mum. But that was like a fire then, because I was like, this can't fail, so I've got to work extra hard. So my why was like, I have to turn this into like good money by working hard, doing as much as I can, and I can't let my family down. I can't just live with my mum for the rest of my life. And then I had the discipline from the military and had the entrepreneurial stuff in the back of my mind.
From a 12-year-old.
Yeah. So just putting all that together, I'm just working hard really, and now I'm sat here.
I think your story there, I'm not trying to relate it to my own story, but I think I was in a fortunate position where I didn't have a mortgage. Like your story's
My
different.
story's
Yours
polar opposite,
isn't it really? Which obviously you can mention now, like. But I was similar to you, where living at home, didn't have any kids, could just literally focus on growing something, and I knew then I wanted to make it my full-time thing, so I went full-time really early on, didn't I? Would you say, Beth?
Yeah.
Obviously Beth didn't come full-time until recently, so basically our business now pays for two of us to have like, so it's gone from being me in a bedroom to this room now. What's your little story, right?
Man, very briefly, mine happened like very similar in the way that like things worked out, that you worked in these other facets of life to kind of like gain you the idea or opportunity to think that you could have been something more, if you like. And then photography just kind of stumbled into my world in a small way. Like you just said there, one time I just came into a little bit of money one time at the end of, I think, of a year where they give out a bonus in the bank, and I just bought my first camera off that back. And then it was just a slow and steady, like taking pictures of things and whatever came into me vision to actually like start something up. And then people asked, would you do this? Would you do this? Would you do this? But the thing that made it a little bit harder for me to make the jump, even though psychologically I was making it myself, is at the time when I had a camera, I already had the career, a mortgage, possible children on the way, like at that time. And then it was only off the fact that Thea, which is my oldest girl, was born. She was the whole reason that made the jump in my mind to go, right, like, knuckle down now. So it was very similar in both ways, like in the way that it fell into place, that I felt like it was made for me in a way, but in the other way that I also made a very conscious decision when the time was right to make that jump. And it's not an easy jump to make.
No, it's
you
not.
know what I mean?
Definitely isn't. And I think people who are listening, who've got other ventures that they like to pursue, I think in your position, you did it gradually because you had to do it that way.
Yeah, I had to.
But if you're in our positions where you're probably still at home and like, you know, I was lucky I had supportive parents and stuff, but in the same breath, I still did what you did, where it wasn't just, I've got supportive parents, I can just, got more elements. Time now. It was more like, I need to do this now.
Both ways work.
Both ways do work. And I think for you, yours was like, I think psychologically could have been a lot more difficult in terms of like, is this ever going to happen? Because you knew it was going somewhere. But I know photographers, sadly, in this industry who've done what you've done, really, when they've had another. When you work in this type of place and there's loads of work going on, you might hear some noises. Come on, fella, hurry up.
The thing is that you can't even hear that.
I know, you won't even hear it on this.
Recording.
But I know other photographers who sadly have other jobs and do the weddings, and then now they just can't make that jump.
So it's so difficult, and like, I just consider myself really lucky to have had the opportunity to move in with me mum, and the support that my wife gave me to be able to go and do these things and to make sacrifices on like how much money we'd make. And
there's just so much more to it, isn't there, that people can't forget, like the other people that come into the frame as well.
Well, I was just going to say, people just look at you now and go, successful, probably like, I don't want to talk about earnings, but you're probably doing well for yourself, and they just see that side now and they go, oh, they just see the current. You don't see that like progression of, as you say, going to your mum's, having the support from your wife, and growing the business.
And you guys asking these origin stories are quite, because there'll be people that have made it who have had a far more difficult journey
Yeah.
than I have.
yeah.
And these origin stories can be really inspiring for people, because mine isn't that inspiring, really. It's like,
Well, there is
all right, your mum let you live with her. And I mean, do you know what I mean? You had all these, like, supportive wife, and you didn't have any. Well, I did have one kid at the time when I was doing it, but, like, you know what I mean? It's not easy, but there'll be other people as this podcast develops, and that with origin stories that'll be much harder and more inspiring for people, for sure.
Well, just before we go for a little break, I was going to say to you, how long was that time frame then from you starting the business to where you felt like it was a full-time thing? And also, no, just answer that, actually. I've got too many questions running from your head.
I don't want to go off into too much of a tangent, but I think because I had that support, I got lucky again, because there's a photographer called ARJ Photography, Adam Johnson.
Oh.
And at the time when I was doing my transition, he was really well known in the industry, and well, he still is now, but like, he was offering mentoring after about a year of me doing it. He was offering mentoring, and I just invested. And at the time, the price for me, who wasn't in the wedding photography industry at all, the price was like extortionate to me. I was like, geez, that's a lot of money. But my missus was like, just go for it. Obviously, he's a successful guy, you know, just go for it. So I did. And in my first year as well, because I had loads of time, because I wasn't doing loads of weddings, I was researching the industry, seeing who was doing well, seeing who wasn't doing well, and all. I didn't know anyone at all. I was literally just some photographer, like, so much so that if anyone came and asked me any questions, I'd be like dead protective of my business and stuff. So I wasn't as open
That's me.
But like, I started contacting everyone on Facebook, saying if anyone's getting married abroad, let me know, and I can come and shoot their weddings for free or expenses or whatever I said at the time. And I think in my actual first year, I did 2 or 3 destination weddings, and I think
Look at her shaking her hands. We're like, we want 2 or 3.
I did 3 destination weddings, but I think one was in Barcelona, one was in Greece, and one was in Cyprus. And I think all 3 of those total between them, one I did for completely free, and then the other 2 were for just minor expenses. I think I got like, I don't know, like 1,200 quid or something like that for 3 destination weddings in total. But I just thought that's going to add to my portfolio and make me look
100%.
more, I don't know, attractive to couples or whatever. So it was quite a quick process. It was only like 2 years before I was charging like the average wedding photographer rate and booking destination weddings and all over the UK. And, you know, but I was, again, like, I was lucky. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I did work hard and I did have discipline, but it was about 2 years before I was like making, like, you know, reasonable annual.
Well, you've put the time in to research and not just sit there and expect things to come to you because you've got the portfolio. That's where people go wrong sometimes. They have the portfolio and don't do the legwork that you've done. You haven't just switched off and went, well, I've done destination weddings, that's enough. You've went, how do I basically put this in front of people for people to book you? Yeah. I think from what you're saying, like, and
going back to the why thing, I just knew how important it was. So when I started researching marketing, which I actually love, by the way, I actually love the business side of this, which is, again, I'm lucky that I just enjoy it, because some people don't like the business side and they just love taking pictures.
They love the creative elements, yeah.
And I actually know people who love the business and they don't love photography, but because they're really good at business, they can make a really successful business out of it. But for me, like, I was just lucky that I loved the business side, so I knew that, like, I worked super hard on my SEO and super hard on trying to understand, like, Facebook.
Get your pen and paper out, lads.
Mate, so,
tell us.
But I knew as well, like, the SEO thing is, you don't get rewarded for that. It's like, you can run a Facebook ad now.
It's a very personal journey, isn't it?
Do a month's Facebook ads course, work hard, do it, and then it's going to start, put some money into it, invest, and you're going to start getting a return on that quite quick. But SEO can take like 18 months before you start getting a booking. So, like, I knew that I was just got to put a lot of effort into that. So I was like writing articles, making landing pages, trying to learn SEO more. And then, you know, for 18 months, it's like loads of work for nothing. But then you start paying dividends then after then, and then it starts bringing, you know, the work back to you once you start ranking better.
Bringing home the bacon.
But it's a lot of work for nothing at the start, so it's easy to...
And that's where a lot of people now who are listening, who have that idea or they want to create something, and they go, I haven't got 18 months to kill. They're not as hungry as probably you are. Do you know what I mean? And I think, like, with us as well, growing businesses, it isn't just an overnight success. No. You've got to put the time in. You've got
I
to...
can see loads of successful photographers. There's loads of photographers, like, you know, the best photographers in the UK who are, you know, winning this and winning that, and were well known for this and well known for that. And I just thought, like, if those people are like way and above what I am now, sort of going back to like 2017. So what do I have to do? I can't just take better pictures than them. the only way I'm going to be able to take better pictures is by shooting more, and I need to shoot more. So, I just want to shoot as much as I can, and I ended up doing going off on another little tangent here. But
No, I love it.
That's what this space is for.
I ended up setting up this competition where I thought I want to take more pictures and practice more. I need to be a better photographer. Like when I'm not shooting, I need to be a better businessman. I need to be a better marketer. So I was putting all the effort into that. And then when I was actually shoot, I wanted to take better pictures. So I thought I've got to shoot more. I've got to engage with couples more. And so I ended up setting up a competition for free engagement shoots for anyone who wants them in the Northwest. And you could set up a form. I think you can still do it now, but you could set up a Facebook form and then run it as an ad, and people would fill in the form and say where they were getting married, when they were getting married, etc. And I think I did.
He is good at the business.
All these people applied for these photo shoots.
So clever.
And I think I can't tell you how many people actually applied for these free photo shoots, but I think over the course of probably a year, I did 24 free engagement shoots. And only 7 of those actually ended up booking me for the wedding. But during that time, I was doing my mentoring with Adam. So he was teaching me photography techniques, and then I was getting to practice these techniques on all of these 24.
It's like a win-win, wasn't it?
So I was just practicing all these techniques, and then I was going back to my mentor and showing him these shoots, and they'd be like, oh, what you could have done here is X, Y, and Z, or what you can do is this. So then I was going and doing the next shoot, and then improving my work, was getting better and better because I was doing all this work. A lot of free time, a lot of culling, a lot of editing, a lot of driving to Formby Beach all the time, a lot of shooting in town, rearranging shoots. And I think during those 24 free photo shoots, like I say, I booked 7 weddings out of it. But from those 7 weddings, by the time I got to do their weddings, my work had improved a lot.
Yes.
So then their friends saw the work, and then I got recommendations to book more work through that, and my work got better. And this was all in my first 2 years, so that's why in the first 2 years it was quite a quick transition, because I had a good mentor, I had time, I had support from my parents, I had support from my wife, so I was just dead lucky really. And I did work hard, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without all of those other people really.
Very humble, in my opinion.
I love that.
Very humble. Have a little break?
Yes.
You do a lot of destination weddings.
Yeah.
So how many do you normally do a year?
Anywhere between 2 and 6, depending. It can change, but that's like an average, I'd say, between 2 and 6.
How many do you do a year?
Between none and 1. I'd love to do more.
But I don't know how, because obviously we're going to speak about destination weddings just very briefly before we go on to speak about your venture and stuff. But for me, destination weddings, after experiencing them, we've done 2 so far, myself and Beth, and now I've got Jude, and obviously you're a dad yourself. Does it make it harder to say yes to a lot? If you're getting in the inquiries for them and stuff?
Not really, because
hi kids.
What kids?
Well, you two shoot together though, don't you? So
yeah,
childcare is a massive hurdle for you guys.
Definitely.
Whereas I can just go and leave my kids with my missus. Plus, how old's Jude?
He's 2.
Yeah, so that's more difficult as well. So when you're asking for childcare, you're asking someone for a massive favour.
Yeah, definitely.
Where my kids are 5 and 8 now, so they're a bit more easy to manage for parents.
They're not in nappies.
No, so
yeah, fair do.
Love it.
As someone who is not married, but maybe
Just got it in there.
one day hoping to get married, would you recommend destination or would you recommend home? Obviously, just your personal opinion, because of our recent ones, I always thought I'd want destination, but after our recent destination wedding, I was like, oh no, I think it's got to be a home wedding now. What's your opinion?
Yeah, well, I think it's difficult, I guess, because you can imagine how many destination weddings happen each year, and to only see 2 and make your decision off that is kind of tricky, because those might have been just bad ones, or ones that didn't feel good enough. But it's such a personal not a personal question to ask, but it's just such a personal choice depending on what you feel, because you've got to ask all your friends and family to come out and give up their time. So I don't know what your friends and family are like, how much money they've got, how much easy it is for their time to give up. Like if most of your first choice guests have all got like toddlers, then I'd suggest having it at home. So there's so many variables to have in that, isn't there? And then a destination wedding, some people might have a destination wedding in the winter in Norway because that's their kind of thing, and then or it might be somewhere like Sicily in July where it's like 40 degrees, and there's just so many variables to what I'd recommend. It's such like a personal thing, I guess.
And then obviously from my point of view, I've like attended destination weddings and they've been unbelievable. But then I'm thinking from like a supplier supplier, and like it's not glamorous, it's hard, like you're sweating, it's hard work, it's a lot harder I think than a home wedding.
For the couple or for
us as a supplier, it's a lot harder I think than a home wedding.
I was going to mention before about like the whole how fun and exciting destination weddings are, because it's like, because I've done quite a lot of them, it's like driving to Manchester Airport at like 3 a.m. to get there in time, because Manchester Airport can be a pain, and then it's like waiting around for your flight, getting on your flight, worrying about your hand luggage, worrying about customs, getting there, queuing up for your hire car, trying to understand the tolls, getting your Google Maps on, can as your phone connect to the car, driving to your accommodation. Is it the right Airbnb? Is the right? Have you got the right code? Is the hotel?
Sold. Get me on that. I want to be a destination.
And then you get up, and then it's like, you know, they can be long days, and then you've got just the normal pressures that we have as wedding professionals to get the job right, and then it's like a long day, and then if you want to enjoy these traveling things and, you know, experience the location that you're in, you've got to add a day or two on to enjoy it. That obviously cuts into your profits because you've got to stay longer in the hotels, and then have the hire car for longer, and then you've got to give up time at home, which means more pressure on the childcare situation, and then you come back and then you get all of this footage, which is great and great for your website and everything, and then you just got to just reverse engineer and say, because it's all that negative side of things, or the effort that you've put in, you've just got to work out, is that going to help my business grow? Is that what I want to do more of? Because if it is, then it's worth it. Do you know what I mean? And if it's not, then it's not. Like, I'm dead lucky that I've got the support I have at home. Whereas I'll tell my missus, I've got a wedding inquiry for somewhere mad in Mexico, and she'll be like, oh, nice one, go for it. Like, do you know what I mean? And, you know, and then
does she ever look at you and go, oh, can we come this time?
I was just going to say, did they ever go with you?
Well, before I had kids, my missus used to come with me to the mall, and then we had kids, and then she'd come with. We had one kid, and
as soon as that kid went over 2 and you had to pay for the seat, you're not coming.
But my siblings and Vicky's siblings didn't have children, so childcare was on tap. So when we had just Oscar and he was a little boy, Vicky would still come with me. And then I did one in Sorrento last year, took the whole family with me, even took the in-laws and my mum all came with me to Sorrento. So
I was waiting for you to go then. I took them all away last year to Sorrento. Never again.
Well, if you take the whole family, it starts cutting into the profits a little bit. Of course,
yeah. That makes complete sense. But thanks for giving us your like little.
Honesty, they are fun. I don't want to just sit here just saying that they're not fun and going, all right, do loads of destination weddings, do you? And then like staying all night, because I absolutely love doing them. I love traveling, and like on the like days off that I have when I'm over there, I love to go and experience the culture and eat the food, and yeah, I'd recommend doing them if well, the best thing to do is just try them. Do you know what I mean? Some people might do it and go, oh yeah, it was beautiful and stuff, but I just can't be bothered with the traveling thing. Or some people might love the traveling thing because they just stick Netflix on during that whole time and just relax. Whatever.
I think mine was the childcare thing.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, saying, because obviously we both work together and we have a little boy, it's a lot harder to get childcare, so I think
I agree with that one. And anyone who is listening who's getting married abroad, it's good to like hear from like, a supplier who's constantly going abroad to see what it, basically if they're booking suppliers at home, they'll have an idea of like what their actual journey looks like. You know, for they're not just imagining appearing on the day, are they? They're going through that whole process.
They're not just a price, are they? They're like the humans.
Yeah. So thanks for your little
you're welcome.
knowledge on that. So I see you've brought us a gift in. Not time to put pressure on any of the suppliers.
Well, I just thought, I don't know,
at the end.
It's like if you go to someone's home, you know, for like some sort of event, you bring like a bottle of wine or something, and I thought,
doesn't look like a bottle of wine, Dave, got to say.
Well, the shape gives it away, I think, really. But you know, normally you. So and we just moved into this nice space, so I thought it's a joint moving in space, and just like I don't know what the equivalent to just giving someone a bottle of wine.
I mean, you get to get it off. You have to open it.
Get that off him. You can open it because it's in between us two.
Okay.
We did say this a little bit before though, when we've got a little set of shelves that we're going to be putting up today, and what we'd like to do is that for each guest to come on to try and, we're not encouraging them to bring something, but if they like do something as their like thing, like Lucy, we can't have missed the trick of getting some of Lucy's brushes, so we'll be after you with them, but like something to represent them, and this will be one of those type of things. So all the future guests, you could just bring something with you. That'd be best. Let's have a look.
Love it. Thank you
That is
so
perfect.
much.
It's one of my favourite photographers.
Show
Stuff
the
like
camera.
that.
Can I just ask
Turn
off the
around
back of
to
that?
camera.
Why?
Why?
Why is that one of your favourite photographers?
Well, there's
That might be quite an open-ended
there's a-
thing, but
Well,
Why?
I'm
What
going to
am I
give
about to
everyone a
find out?
recommendation. Anyone who's into photography or just likes really interesting stories, then look up the documentary called Finding Vivian Mayer, and you'll hear stories just incredible. If you're a photographer, videographer, or a creative in any sense, or if you're just passionate about anything, because this woman, I don't want to give too much away, but this woman loved photography like you just wouldn't believe, and she loved it like I'd say more than any of us in this room. And she shared. I'll give it a little secret away.
Oh, no.
But she shared 0 photos. I'll
Right.
just leave you with that intrigue.
Okay.
and
is that why
watch
the documentary is called Finding, because she was just so
called Find-
elusive, like type of thing?
Yeah, like I don't want to.
I know, it's like when you're watching a Netflix series,
Yeah.
someone goes, so what bit are you up to? And they go, yeah, so...
You're
Yeah, I
the
mean, there's
best
not
for
like a
that.
big twist in it or anything, but
I don't know.
or maybe I'll say something just so that I can sell it a bit more so people watch it. But like, she basically took in a ridiculous amount of photos on film and just didn't develop them, just kept them in a box, and then kept them in a box in a storage unit, kept them in a box in a storage unit, and then she passed away, and then someone found the pictures, and the pictures
Oh
are some
my
of the
God.
best street photography you'll have ever seen. And she was just a nanny. I say just a nanny. I'm saying
this
she
it?
wasn't like a famous
this it?
photographer.
I know this sounds stupid, but
that's
is that
a
it?
self-portrait, yeah.
Right.
Oh my
But
God.
there's a lot of her pictures in there. It's she's one of my favourite photographers. I just wanted to share something passionate, creative
do you know what's like-
with you
So
guys.
what's just sprung to my mind then, the way you said before about your why? Wouldn't it be dead interesting to find out her why, or do you know why?
No, well, that's the intriguing thing, because no one knows nothing about it.
Because I think sometimes for us,
So she weren't doing that for any other reason, for the love of it, was she really? She weren't trying to promote herself.
Yeah, she was taking the pictures, and she wasn't even developing the pictures to look at them. She just loved the process.
Oh
But
my
when you see how
God.
good, honestly, like maybe after the podcast or do it now, whatever, open it and just flick through. And
can't
just
open
look.
it now. I
That's
won't
after-
shut it.
Yeah. In the green room afterwards, we'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a flick
Yeah.
We have got a green room, by the way, just saying. But just a little. We won't
Put your
keep
book-
talking
put the
about it.
book
I know,
down,
yeah.
you're not tapping
It's
it.
my book. It's the way you've just spoke about like destination weddings and how long your process took for your journey, and like we touched on ours a little bit and stuff like that. You do kind of find yourself sometimes when you do get longer days, pressured days, serious moments, like unbelievable amounts of editing to do, like all that type of stuff. And obviously the money's one thing, but I think I still, even sometimes to some point, are still trying to discover my like whole why, because sometimes it's like you couldn't give me an amount of money to do that day again or whatever like that. Like,
When you say why, do you mean what's your why?
what's
Have
your
you started
what's your
business, or
prime
why are you
driver?
taking pictures?
Because like for her, just to hone in on her, she's obviously done it. Her whole why is that she just loved it.
Yeah.
My whole why to some degree is that that's definitely true, but also my other why is that I don't want to work in like behind the desk that I was doing beforehand. So my why is equally as money driven as it is passion driven
That's okay,
in a small way.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to like see between the lines.
You
of,
got
like,
into this though because you loved it, and I think that's like majority of people in our industry, like me from a videographer point of view. I film weddings because originally I loved documenting the film process.
Something.
Yeah. So I was filming like my own life and like, you know, family and stuff, and then eventually it was like you can make money of doing this. And I still, obviously, I love film weddings, but I know there's going to be another avenue down the line in the next 5 years, probably, that like I want to go into like filming other things, not just weddings. Do you document anything else other than weddings at the moment, or is it just
when
weddings?
you go home, is the camera away? Gone.
Well, I love taking pictures of my kids, and I've got another Instagram account which is just my personal photography that I do with my kids and stuff.
I follow that one.
And I think one of the top tips for doing that is that like I love taking pictures of my kids and I want to do more, but if it's in my bag in my office, I'm gonna do it less. So I try and leave it out sometimes on the fireplace, and then when the kids are doing something cool, or even if they're not doing anything cool, they're just doing whatever, it's there ready to take pictures. But I'll be honest, I'm quite bad at doing that most of the time. It is in my bag, but I'd like to leave it out more.
I'm
so I
very,
could take
very,
more
very
pictures.
guilty of that. I think you're really good at documenting your lives. Maybe just from mine outside of looking in. You do seem to like interact with you and show your lives a lot on, not necessarily the memory box things, but on the personal accounts of yours that I follow. But like, I'm very guilty of not getting my camera out more to document the kids in the way that I'd like to see them documented. There's only really a handful of times, which makes me sound like a possible bad dad, that I've actually got my actual camera out and spent time to either film or shoot them in any way, shape or form.
But everyone says that about themselves though. If you're
and it's like you've just said there, it's because your camera's like away in a bag or whatever, and you only feel like you're getting it out when you're doing it for pay. Sometimes, and I really hate that feeling.
A lot of people, like, if you're a gardener, you're not going to go home and do your own garden. If you're a painter, you don't end up painting your own house. If you're an lecturer, you know what I mean? You always get someone else to do. You don't just walk around your house doing it all the time. I think because our job, everyone has a camera on the phone now, so everyone classes themselves as like a, you know, they're documenting their own lives in that
Content
sense
creator.
constantly, and I think because we use ours as like it's a tool for work, so you relate it to sometimes in a way that you go, oh, that's work, I don't want to.
And it's easy when, because the camera phones are so good, because the cameras on the phones are so good, it's easy to say, you know, I just want some pictures of kids.
That.
But
Convenience.
then what happens is, I think as a photographer, if I'm taking pictures with my phone, I'm just visually documenting what's happening. I'm not really being creative.
They're not real
with my
memories,
camera.
are they?
Whereas if I get my camera out, I'm in photographer mode then, and then I'm thinking more about my composition and the light and everything, because but if I'm just getting pictures with my phone, like I took them for a walk down the country lane by mine the other day. They were picking up sticks and there's a little stream and they were just doing stuff, and I was just snapping with my phone, do you know what I mean? But if I had my camera, I would have been thinking loads more about the composition and the light and everything more, do you know what I mean? I would have been a photographer then, which would have been made cooler pictures.
Do you think that's an issue? Because we're seeing this like birth now of this like content creator world. Obviously, we've got our mates on in a few weeks, Brad or Sky, will like talk about this more. But do you feel like there's, I don't know what the right way to say it is, but is it an issue that people are becoming so like okay with just going, oh, I'll just do that, and it's just a snap, and letting the phone do the work and taking out the joy in the process of getting the shot, if that makes sense?
Is it an issue for who?
Well, this is the question, isn't it? Like, is it an issue for people so they kind of don't? So I'll line it up two ways. Is it an issue for us as photographers, videographers, that people are all right with people turning up to their big days like weddings and shooting it on their iPhones? Is that an issue? And secondly, is it an issue that... What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know, but I know, and I sort of.
Is it an issue for them to think that it's all right for people turning up with the phones? Is it an issue for us to think that they're going to take that off us?
Because there's content creators coming through now, and obviously, I think the majority of them now are just videoing, aren't they? And they're making little video montages and stuff.
They're basically doing this, aren't they?
Have you worked on by the way?
No, that's what I mean. I've not worked with them yet, but my view on it is that, like, my job is there to document the wedding as best as possible. Now, if the couple have wanted a content creator there, that's none of my business, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think if they've got a content creator there, then I'm quite adaptable to work around those, and you know, just put belief and trust in myself just to do the job I'm there to do. And if for whatever reason the content creator is sort of in the shot or in the frame or whatever, then that was the bride had them there anyway, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think
they are part of the day.
yeah, so like I just work around it.
I love your mentality in that, because I've always been that way in that sense, where like, do you know, where like some photographers and videographers can be very particular, like, oh, that's my shot. I'm very similar to you in that sense, that if someone's there who the bride wants to be there, and they're just in like a candid shot, it is what it is, you know what I mean? Like, as I say, you want them
like
there.
just using videographers as an example, because you know, some videographers are, most of them are fine to work with, but some of them, you know,
not so much.
Well, not.
Oh,
not
spill
so
the tea, don't be shy.
Sometimes, you know, I work with some videographers that I'll just pitch up and go, mate, you just do whatever you want to do. I'll just work around you. I'm not bothered. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I don't mind. But then even I'm quite empathic that, like, when I'm shooting, I'm like, are you sure you're all right or whatever? And like always communicating with the videographer. And then sometimes I'll go with the videographers don't say that, and they just sort of take the lead without even considering me, and I'm like, well, that's kind of annoying, but I'll just work around it. Very rare that is, by the way.
Yeah.
I've got one example. I did a
It's
wedding.
usually the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah, you're all
Us
control
photographers are
freaks,
quite
you photographers.
Yeah. But I think I did one ages ago, and on this videographer, honestly, they had about like 7 photographers, and during the ceremony, there was like the setup was more cameras than this, and there was like, and I was just like. And they kept on going, mate, can you move out the way? Can you move out the way? And I was like, mate, you've got about like 30 cameras on the go here. Like, surely I'm not in one of these shots. Like,
You're on Big Brother here now, mate. There's cameras everywhere.
So, but most of the time, what my point is, most of the time, I just work around what's in front of me, and I think that's our job, is just to be professional. And
yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, it's not my wedding. It's not my photography job. It's their wedding.
There's that key line
They've hired X, Y, and Z, and I'm there to do my job around it. And you've got to be adaptable.
We're on the right path.
I was about to say, I'm literally like, everything that you're saying is, in a way, it sells it to me as well as a bride and groom, that you think that way, because I think that way, and I know the bride and groom want a photographer to come in or a video team to come in and be able to blend and have that mentality of, we're here to do the same job. I'm going to be considerate of you. You're going to be considerate of me. I'm going to help you out. You're going to help me out, because it benefits the couple's end results.
Yeah, if I pitch up at a wedding and I just pitch up and I don't know the videographers and you and Beth are there, first thing I'm going to be like, oh, it's them again. But like, no, but I'm thinking subconsciously we should be having these sort of telepathic subconscious conversations that, listen, I'm here today as a creative with you to make sure they get the best content.
Yeah.
As a photographer, I want to make sure that the video is amazing. I don't, not ruin it, but I don't hamper you at all, because I want you to do a good job for them. And I'd like to think that subconsciously you're thinking the same about me. Then there's no effort required then. You just subconsciously just help each other and communicate and make sure that they're getting the best.
So do you think it's important, this is another thing I always get from brides and grooms, where when they like book us, or like they book the photographer before us, let's just say, they'll go, we really want our photographer to be able to work with you, and do you think it's important when the couples are booking you, if they want a videographer team, to come through you for that, or do you just go do what you want? I
mean, I'm confident enough in my own skill set that I'll be able to work around whoever they pick. Yeah. But if they can book someone that I've worked with 100 times before,
makes sense.
You're going to have that sort of, or you're going to have your own language where you could just, sometimes I just look at a videographer and just nod, and I know exactly what he's thinking and what he's saying and what he's...
Do it to me now.
That's it.
Yeah. No, we feel like this is why we work all right together, isn't it? Because obviously we have a joint package. No, but we discovered very, very quickly that we had what you've just said, which is this like almost non-verbal telepathic state. And I say us, I've got me back to Beth, which is really rude of me. Us three, we've got this like kind of like non-speaking thing. So we feel like it's more beneficial for us to get stuff together, isn't it? As much as humanly possible. It helps
I think sometimes it helps the couple, doesn't it? If they have the same team, who, as you say, they work together all the time. But also I think it's important for the couple to pick photographers, videographers that, when they see their work, they go, oh, I really can see myself being in that. And I think with us, and obviously we could touch onto your style now, we're a very natural team. Like we try and put ourselves in the couple's shoes, because we don't want them to feel like they're on a photo shoot. We want them to feel like it's their wedding day, rather than we're coming in being like, right, light, camera, action, you stand there, you do this, I'm gonna make you look amazing, blah blah blah. We'd rather than be more raw, authentic. And when they come away from the wedding and they get the photos back and the film back, they see themselves, not the models we've positioned to be.
You just want the wedding to be a wedding. And even like I was on the Zoom last night, I was saying to the couple, like when they go, oh, we love all your natural work and all this. And then I'm thinking subconsciously they must be looking at my portraits thinking, well, how's that natural if it's just the photographer and the couple? But I just say to them, that's a time for you guys to have some alone time and spend some time together. And it's just back to me documenting again. It's not me saying, oh, I'm going to turn this into a photo shoot and put you like this and you like this. Obviously, I see myself as a director or a director of photography during that stage, but you guys are the actors, like you mean, and you guys have got to do what you've got to do, which is just enjoy each other's company. I'll just work around you, and if I have to interject because of the light's wrong, then I'll make some suggestions, but most of it's just you.
Creative suggestion. That's what we like to say.
I think it comes on beautifully to speak about your new venture, if you're happy to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think we couldn't have asked you to come on here and not spoken about FEDWED and all its glory, to which I'm an official member of, by the way.
Member of.
Hopefully one of the first people, because I actually
signed up. Member. Well, one of the originals, one of the first members.
I feel like we need to join up now, Beth.
Yeah, we
I feel like we missed the ship on this one. So tell us all about it.
So it's called the Federation of Wedding Photographers and Filmmakers,
Okay.
and it's for wedding photographers and filmmakers.
Okay, so we're included in that.
Yeah.
I thought initially, I must admit, naively, I thought it was just photographers.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you
Well,
mentioned that.
there's not a lot out there for
Filmmakers, yeah.
There seems to be lots of things, and I co-founded it with my good friend Adam Johnson.
Your
ALJ
mentor?
Photography. Yeah, my mentor back in met him in late 2017, November, I think.
Shout out.
2018.
What a full circle that must be for you. Because when you first started getting mentored by him, did you ever think, oh yeah, we're going to have like this, co-business together?
No,
or?
but obviously he lives in Manchester, and I'm in Liverpool, which is, Manx and Scousers have got like we've got this like wall up, but we're quite similar. Do you know
We
what I
are
mean?
very similar,
Yeah.
I think. We are very similar.
There's a wall up, but if it's anything to do with the south of the wall comes down straight away.
Yeah.
No, but so we just really believe, or at least just from my perspective, like my business success is a lot to do with me meeting other photographers, and just like this conversation is now,
Yeah.
like I'm learning from you guys and you guys are learning from me, and we're talking about how we run our business, we're inspiring each other, we're communicating, we're almost building like a sort of like a team really, and like just networking and meeting people. It's just great for just normal day life. Just networking is just healthy. Even if you're working 9 to 5 in an office, if you start going to networking events, it's just going to develop your personality. So to go to networking events now as a creative in the photography industry with other photographers and filmmakers, it's only going to develop you personally and professionally. And it's the same for Adam, because he ran a sort of networking thing in the past, and I attended to them, and it helped me out quite a lot. So I know that he's passionate about it. And since COVID, there's a lot of online stuff and there's a lot of sort of disconnect. So we wanted to try and create something that not only brought photographers and filmmakers together, but just bringing people together physically. And that's why we're doing these launch events, which are free all over the UK, Liverpool, London, Edinburgh, Bristol, and Dublin.
Wow.
I don't want to sell. I didn't want to turn this into a salesy thing, but the tickets are free and they're still.
Well, when you said
now.
free, I thought,
Oh yeah.
it's not. I think it's so clever of you to go. It's free to come, because that in itself is like you're sold. There's no reason for you not
we
to
didn't
go.
want to just create something and go, right, give us your money. We wanted to create something that we believe in, and we're not going to say give us your money if you want to come, but the first official events are all free because we want people to come. And we want people to see the power in just meeting new people, and getting inspired by other people and spending time and making new connections and locally as well. So it's not like we're just doing one event a year in a location. We want to try and bring everyone together in different areas so that people can build up their own networks. So it's not about us. We don't want to build up a FEDWED community. We're just the sort of initiators of going to Liverpool, putting this on an event for everyone in the Northwest to come to. And then they make your own friends and networks and connections and start sending each other referrals and inspiring each other, and everyone helps each other to grow. So I guess there's not a lot to it other than that, and we want to just create more, networking events all over the country. Really.
I think the inspiring part for me, I'm one of them where you coming in today and the other guests we've had on previously, I always come away from it and I'm just like, full of like pure new ideas and new ways of like growing the business. And same again, I love the idea of going somewhere where you can meet people who are like-minded, who are in a similar position to us, who can sort of relate to the struggles and like give you that like fix in a way. So I'm glad that you've...
the I don't know, there's an actual name for it, but like the 1% rule about the story about the British cycling team.
Go on.
The British cycling was really, really poor.
Okay.
I'm trying to give you the short version, but like the British cycling team was like awful. We were like rubbish at cycling, and then they got this guy in, who I forget his name. Anyway, he came in and started to improve absolutely every single aspect of the whole cycling thing by just 1%. So even if like you change the seat and improve the seat by 1%, how much difference do you think that's going to make to the cycling team? Nothing. But if you change 100 things by 1%, the difference is exasperating. It's huge. Like, do you know what I mean? So, and that's what like these networking events. You might go into a networking, or networking events, and then you meet a videographer, you're chatting, and they're going, yeah, and then you follow them online, you have a coffee, whatever, and you learn a new tactic, technique, or get inspired that changes your business by 1%. Memory Box Films isn't changing, is it? By one, it's not affecting it at all. But over time, and you giving back to other people, theirs improving by 1%, and then over time, as those little increments happen, 30% is huge. Do you know what I mean? So by going to these networking events and meeting people and gaining that little bit of inspiration, or gaining that support, or hearing someone else's struggle, that makes you just feel better about yours. And we just think it's going to be. We just want to help people as individuals, and I know you guys are a couple team, but it's just good to help people like that, I think.
I was going to say, when are the dates released and stuff like that?
Yeah, the dates are released for the first launch events. Still, I mean, it's the first one's on the 24th of March. I don't know when this podcast is going out, so
well, we'll get it out before then.
Yeah,
so we'll sell it.
So
now.
Where's the first one?
The first one is in Liverpool in Fabric. Do you know where that is?
Fabric. I've got my phone out now because I'm more thinking. I think I've got a wedding on the 24th.
We have.
It's Sunday,
Yeah, we've got a wedding on that day.
Yeah.
You're going to go and represent?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, you said you got to get a shift change or something?
This is another part that people don't see as well, as that we just think we've got this unbelievable amount of time that we can just drop things willy-nilly and stuff like that, and it touches a little bit on what we've said already about that there's other factors in your world. Even though I might be free on that day, I think my wife is working that day, so then it becomes somebody else would have to look after them kids and stuff like that. Them kids, said that bad, didn't I? But then I think at the moment Becky's mum's heavily trying to get her house on track, so she's working all the overtime God sends, and then my mum's not very well at the moment, which we won't go into. But all of the facets kind of end up making you feel a bit closed off, and I'm desperate to go, by the way, and I think I've shown that already through my little texts and that. But I will be there.
What camera brand do you shoot with?
Did you just read my notes?
No.
I know why you've asked that question. These will be buzzing. These will be made up, but I'll take it for you. I shoot on Nikon.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But these shoot on Sony.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're
and
Nikon.
why?
Doesn't matter if you're Nikon or Sony. But
what are you?
I'm Sony.
I know you're that.
That was one of the questions.
He was.
But when Sony heard about the FEDWED, they were so excited about it that they wanted to be. They were one of our first sponsors, followed by Graphic Studio, who are album designers, and both Sony there and Graphic Studio will be there to add value as well. Graphic Studio are going to help people with not just albums and just showing off the stuff, go and pick us for your album company, but they want to help people with if anyone's got any questions about album sales or marketing and that kind of things. And Sony are going to be there with their gear to show off, and they're going to do free professional camera cleaning for anyone. And Sony have just said, listen, we don't care what brand. Sony said they're not bothered about what brand of camera you've got. We just want to help people, photographers. We just want to clean the camera. So
how cool is that?
No. Boss that, isn't it?
Yeah, but we were so passionate about the idea and the fact that two big companies have come in and said we think it's great, and they're sponsoring us. So yeah, and we've got another one that might be coming in, but I won't say that. We've got another.
Sounds off here. But it's nice that, as I say, for you, you've come up with this idea of let's put this on for everyone because we think it'll help everyone who's going to get involved. And then, as we know, two big organisations go,
boss that.
We'll join in with you because we think you're doing amazing at what you do. So
they're excited about it.
Fair play, well played.
Yeah, well done.
I'm happy to go into question time. Before we do, though, is there anything that you feel like we haven't missed off or anything like that? That you want to talk about, that you want to give a little shout out for? Because I know what you said before about going off on tangents. We all do it, and we've said this to all our guests, and obviously people who have listened to all the episodes. With them guests who've been on previously, we're going to get them on further down the line because at the moment weddings aren't happening as much, so there's probably not much going on to talk about wedding wise, what they've been up to recently. The only thing that I was going to say, but it's one of those things where I can cut it out because it's just it's pointless. It was more just what's the end result for you in the next 5 years? Do you have a goal? For people who in our position where you go, right, I'm going to set myself a target or a goal for the next 5 years. What's yours?
No, that's a really good question, actually. Obviously, FEDWED be growing and bringing more photographers together and more people enjoying it is huge for us because obviously it's a brand new project. We've launched 10 days. It's been launched, so that's a given. Do you know what I mean? In 5 years, I'd like to see us putting on really good events around the country that people can attend to, and then people's businesses are growing and they're making good connections and getting more support from each other would be huge. And in terms of my own business, I think, like, I like how many weddings I'm shooting now. I'm only shooting maybe like 20 weddings a year. So it gives me nice time with my family and stuff at home. So I don't know, it seems almost like a negative thing to say that I haven't got any a 5-year plan for my own business. No, but I've worked hard to get it where it is today. So I suppose just maintaining that, because just getting to where I've got today, you know, has been a lot of hard work. And if you take the foot off the gas, then you know, things can slowly drop off. So, you know, I don't want to rest on my laurels. I want to keep working hard. And
I was going to ask which ties those two things together. One of which was, do you have an amount of weddings that you do per year? So 20, you've answered that. But with FEDWED being a thing and obviously an intent in growth, do you think that cap might even lessen still? Do you see, because I was saying this, like a lot of people who have kind of reached those like peak, like high end points of their own facilities or their own areas, they get to that point where they're like, right, I want to help everyone else now. I want to involve everyone else. Do you see yourself becoming more of like a tutor, like mentor, or will you always do weddings at?
You've got to keep your hand in, surely, haven't you? Would you say?
Say again?
You always still got to have your hand doing what you've built up towards.
Yeah, well, I just love shooting weddings. Like, do you know what I mean? And someone actually mentioned it on another podcast. So sorry, this is a theme, but I think about after we're all gone as well. Like, I get to leave. Like, in 200 years, we'll all be gone.
Yeah.
But someone's going to be looking at these videos that you guys create and the photos that we create, and someone's going to be evoking emotions long after we're gone. And I think I'm just dead proud of that, because, you know, no one wants to think of like death, no one wants to, like, you know, pass away kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a legacy,
you know,
almost
anyway. Like picture myself on my deathbed thinking, you know, obviously I think of my family first, or whether, you know, but to leave that behind and know there's people going to be getting joy out of something that I've done is pretty cool. And I think I don't want to do 2 less weddings. Like, you know, if FEDWED went to the moon and it was just ridiculous, I wouldn't want to go down to like 5 weddings. It wouldn't be enough for me, because, like,
you still got to feed that wedding buzz.
The words of Ryan, you got to stay match fit, haven't you?
That's it, innit? Can't just keep coming off the bench every now and then. It's got to.
Give me the FEDWED tagline. You can have that percentage.
No, but you've got to, haven't you? Like, so, like, I just love doing weddings. So I think, I don't think I'd want to do much less than 20. And, you know, I'm a sucker as well, because, you know, if I've got 20 and someone inquires and they love my work and I get on with them and they want me to shoot the wedding, and
you like that? You're like, oh, go on then, go on.
And it's in Mexico. Go on then.
To be all inclusive, we can slot it in there for you. But yeah, we're going to go on to question time now, because but we'll have a little break beforehand. We're going to slot a little sponsor, I think.
Are we?
Yeah, why not?
Oh.
Why not?
It's question time.
Question time. Yes, we have some questions fired in.
So this is what I asked you the picture for, to say we're going to put it out to the audience and they're going to ask us questions. This
right.
On our stories.
So we don't even know what these are really.
So first question. These like quick fire rounds. You know, obviously you can give the long answers, but there's a lot here to answer. So 5 questions in total, just so you know. First one. How do you manage the work/life balance?
Wow, that is a good question.
Like, how long have we got? How do you manage it?
Not very well.
Not very well.
I think there's advice out there, which is one of the best pieces of advice is if you're working, you're working, and if you're off, you're off. Because so many times when I'm off, and I'll just be on my phone and I'll be like checking emails or responding to stuff, and you shouldn't. And I know time can be of the essence in our industry, getting back to inquiries as quick is always better and stuff. Or I find myself on Instagram thinking, I should post something, and I'll post it when I should be off. So I think I don't manage it great. I'd like to manage it better, and I'd like to ask that question to other people.
To be honest, yeah, I'm the same as yourself, and I actually feel guilty sometimes when the opposite way around. Weirdly, I should feel guilty about not spending time with my family and like enjoying that time, but then I feel guilty that I'm not doing the work. The work's like a baby to me, and I feel like I'm neglecting it if I'm like not replying it quickly as to inquiries, because as you say, time is the essence. You want them to book, or you want them to get that inquiry first, so they're like, oh, they're keen, they seem like they're interested, and then posting your work as well, so people are seeing, you know.
Talking about that, just to give you an example, I'm that bad for not switching off. Like, I don't feel like I have any days off at all.
A bad work-life
balance. Really, there's no work-life balance. To the point of, I replied to an inquiry on the night of our first year wedding anniversary when we went and stayed away in a hotel and everything. So we're having this like nice, you know, at a hotel, we've just been in a spa, we've sitting off, we've come back up to our dinner, and Becky's like, "Oh, what are you doing on your phone?" And I'm like, "I'm just replying to this inquiry." That's like really damaging, that, isn't it?
Look what we do for you, eh?
Do you know?
Yeah, but the thing is, as long as you're conscious of it, because it's not like you can go, "Oh, what's the best way to manage work-life balance?" And you go, "Oh, yeah, you just do X, Y, Z," and goes, "Okay, I'll do that." There isn't a pill or a switch to it.
Yeah.
But as long as you're aware that it's something that you need to work on and focus on, and you're conscious of it, like you were saying then, you're the same as me, and you're bad at it, and you're hard at it, and it's a baby, and you're constantly doing it. But as long as you're conscious of the fact that you need to maintain it, because if you completely just forget that and you're like, "Oh, whatever, I'll just work," then you start going downhill. So as long as you're, like, whoever's asked that question is in a half decent place already because they're concerned about it, and it means that they're not gonna.
There you go.
They're not gonna let that go, and that they want to make a better work-life balance for themselves. So that's cool.
So next question: do you ever, because obviously it's you know, do you know you're a photographer? Do you ever retouch your photos like Photoshop? Obviously, no Lightroom's a thing, but I think it's in brackets Photoshop.
Yeah, I don't use Photoshop unless it's like a really big manipulation that I'd have to do. And maybe it's like, because the clone tool in Lightroom for getting little bits and bobs out is so good.
It's got boss
that
now,
I
hasn't
do
it?
use that to, you know, get rid of bits and
Yeah.
bobs. Only small bits in the, you know, in the frames, like fire exit signs and stuff like that. It's easy, but you know, if there's like a fire extinguisher in my shot and I really want to keep the shot, and you know, the clone tool might not be good, so might use Photoshop for that. But I always try and do as little manipulation as possible.
So I think this question was based on, because me and Beth recently worked with a photographer last year who actually reshaped the bride in front of us.
Okay, I don't know.
So like, you're not that type of photographer, which is, I agree with that, by the way. I think you should always be genuine in that sense. Like, you shouldn't.
Yeah, and I don't want this to be patronising to anyone. I think, like, as a photographer, one of our jobs is to make people look as flattering as possible in camera, like, do you know what I mean? By using the most flattering light, the most flattering angle, the most flattering composition, which, you know, you just develop over time and learn your own techniques to do that.
Yeah, good answer.
Good answer that.
A little question from our Abby, little shout out to Abby.
Oh,
She gets a mention every episode, and all her family do as well, because they're all big listeners and we love them all for it. Hi Ab. So she sent a question in, which is biggest do's and don'ts getting married abroad. So we did touch on this before, but she wants to know biggest do's and don'ts in getting married abroad.
What biggest do's and don'ts for the bride or for the photographer?
I would answer it from what you probably experienced, maybe as a photographer, and then what you've witnessed the bride and groom went through, which you think, oh, we wouldn't do that if I was getting married abroad. Maybe in that sense. We could all join in this one if you wanted to not put the pressure on Steve.
Yeah. No, it's tough. I think. Wow, I think when people are getting married abroad, they seem to do a pretty good job of picking the ceremony time quite well.
Yeah.
So, one thing I would do is just make sure that you get that right. And it's difficult though, because, you know, I did a wedding in Cyprus and the ceremony was at like 4 p.m, which makes sense because of the temperature and a lot of destination weddings, they're get
always
that right, because
yeah.
a lot of them have planners or coordinators that can guide that. Do you know what I mean? So, but then you've got to balance, like, if they go, okay, we'll do it at 6 at sunset, and then there's like not much time to fit everything in. So there's so many logistics to it. So I don't know. It's a really, really tricky question.
I think it's good that you've answered in that sense, though, because I think some people who get married abroad don't even think about the ceremony time until they start probably speaking to the coordinators and stuff, or like who's going to be doing the wedding for them. And I always think that, like, I never knew it was that late in the day, because as a guest, when we've been to weddings abroad, you're like, bloody hell, sat by the pool all day waiting to get, waiting to go to the wedding.
Don't you?
What?
You do.
You
as
do?
well, yeah.
And then, but when you're, as you say, when you're capturing the day, you're already there. You're already starting like the bridal party side and like the morning preparation. Oh, little inquiry come through there.
I like to show off.
Well, you heard the sound effect. I had to mention it. Yeah, it was Just Eat. Thanks for your order last night. So yeah, do's and don'ts. What would you say, do or don'ts? Go on, Beth. You seem like you've got your one in.
No,
That's
I'm thinking. I'm just thinking.
Choose the weather wisely.
I was actually thinking about the weather and thinking, like, don't let the weather affect, because obviously typically you think abroad the weather will be lovely, but that is not always the case. So
No, sadly not.
I think whenever you get married, just don't let the weather affect your day.
Yeah, don't base your whole wedding around the heat or like the temperature.
But some
Because-
people are booking that.
I know
you
that's typically
place
what,
for that
because like
reason.
when you said before, if someone's getting married in Norway, getting married in Norway as a destination wedding would never even come into my mind, but people obviously do, because I
Yeah.
think I'd always just think sun.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I mean? I think most people probably would, but probably don't just anticipate that it will be sunny, because it might not always be.
I would always say, in terms of, because obviously we've mentioned this previously on a podcast, about your suppliers that you choose. I think sometimes you can be coerced into choosing certain photographers, or no, not even photographers, sorry,
Just
your
vendors
suppliers in general.
I think a lot of places though, when you do go abroad, the kind of, a lot of them will make you take who they want
pick,
you to.
yeah. Still say
or
hair, makeup
they'd
and stuff.
say you can bring on your own people, but you have to pay us a fee to have them there.
Yeah.
Which, do you get that?
Yeah. Not loads. I think I've only ever done one wedding in Greece, but I've heard like that's a thing in Greece.
Yeah, it is.
And when I
Santorini
booked that
especially.
recent one in Mexico, they said the same thing.
Yeah,
They said
Mexico
that's
as well, yeah.
that's
I've had that a
good
few
for them.
times where the couple have said to us, they never booked us in the end, but they were like, we really want you to film the wedding, but there's just an extra charge on top, which is just like extortionate. And you think,
The maddest part though about that thing, because I remember there's a girl whose wedding I ended up doing, because it was like one of them COVID things where she was meant to be getting married in Mexico, and I did her friend's wedding, Kaylee by the way, and Amy was the friends who did. But like, she was getting married in Mexico, and she was like, oh, I'd really love you to come because the way that you wear on Amy's day and blah blah blah. But the place where we're getting married basically said that we'd have to pay them a fee. I think it was like £1,300 or something like that.
Yeah, it is.
To have you there, which is then that cost, then your cost, then getting you there and stuff like that. But at the same time, when she was going to Mexico, they only got that photographer for like 4 hours, whereas pay the extra fee, get the extra time.
They always
we
do.
would stay there the whole day and probably even do something the day before.
I always feel like they get proper like conned in a sense, because as you say, they're only there for like a short period of time, and again, they're very much like, and this isn't against anyone who's based in these places, but they don't see, there's no personal element to it. They just go, another couple, bang bang bang, oh yeah, okay, and they're ticking the boxes, which for me, I think, I don't know, I wouldn't want someone capturing my day just ticking boxes. I want them to know what I'd like to see
Who was
afterwards.
on the reception the day before.
Yeah, definitely. So there's two more questions, and they're very similar to Abby's question, and we can do them both very similar. So how many group shots should I have?
Wow, that's another open-ended question, but it's quite a personal thing,
None.
isn't it? Because some people say to me they don't want any, and some people say they just want like immediate family maybe, and I don't know if it's my work, because I don't really show group shots on my website or on my Instagram, but I think so. A lot of my couples that get in touch with me, they don't say they want a lot of group shots, or I'd say the majority of them do, but it's more like not many. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's never like a massive list.
The standard.
And it always ends up more like if they go, we just want these 5, and then it'll always be like at least 11. Because it's like, oh, can I just get one with... And then, because otherwise, also guests come around as well.
Oh,
Go,
yeah.
oh, can we get one? And
Can
then
we
the
jump in,
bridegroom.
yeah.
So I always suggest that if we're going to do them, let's go off and do them somewhere around the corner on the sly where all your other guests can't go, oh, can I have one too? Because then it's more time for the couple just stood around thinking...
That's spot on.
It's my wedding day and I've just spent half an hour studying.
That's what I think. It's good that you've said that, because I think a lot of brides and grooms who are getting married, who think about group shots, don't take that element into like that aspect.
I think they've got this like from a generational thing they've got from like their mums or nans or granddads or whatever, that taking millions of group shots was like the thing. They
Everyone
kind of
at the wedding
expect that they
party got
have to
one.
have it, where some people either don't know that they have to or have to and have too many.
Yeah.
And it's finding that line between. And I always ask the question, like, and we've kind of said now, is I'll stand there and take pictures all day of as many groups as you want, but you'll probably get bored of doing it before I will, because that is literally my job, to stand and take photos of you, whereas your face will crumble up, your posture will change, you'll just get bored.
Yeah.
Might be dead hot, might even be too windy. Like, there's a fine line, isn't
And
it?
I'd absolutely encourage them, because sometimes when couples say to me on like the pre-wedding consultation, whatever, oh, we don't want any group shots, but I'm sure you'll get them with me and me mum and me dad anyway. And I'm thinking, yeah,
Not unless you say.
if you're spending like 5-10 minutes with them and I'm shooting something else, I can't be everywhere at once. So I get a bit like, oh, will I get that? So I think, well, maybe just do your immediate family,
Yeah.
and that's like a reassurance thing for them and for me, so that they're getting like...
Definitely.
Because I will try my best to get natural photos, because if you do 30, 40, 50 group shots, if they've got this big list, a lot of people are hiring you. Most photographers don't show loads of group shots on their wedding, so they're not booking you for your group shots. They're booking you for how you use light, or how you do candid photography, or how you capture the non-tangible things of a wedding, like how you capture the energy and the atmosphere. So if you're stood there like a school photographer, they're losing out on you.
Yeah, you are. You'd have anyone stand there with a
best of
tripod
you.
just doing that if you needed to, really. It's like a keyring keyring photographer, really, where they go round and just go, yeah, get together, guys. Like,
yeah. So my recommendation would be, for how many group shots did you have? It should be as many of the most important people to you have group shots of that. And then, you know, you don't want to get like, now can we have all of my uni mates that did live in the south of England that own dogs and goldfish at the same time, and we need that shot, because they start, you know.
Yeah, it just spirals out of control. So we always try and emphasise that, don't we? It's like who's important to you, who you're going to appreciate.
It's a massive distraction from the normal flow of the day, isn't it, to do group shots? I think this is what we always pitch it up, isn't it? Like, we don't want to take away too much from you having a, that really sounds really bad, to having a good time. Whereas there's a lot of photographers out there, you probably see them all over Instagram now, who really pride themselves on their group shot ability. One particular place comes to mind, Fire and Ice.
Yes.
Have you heard of them? So they're really good at their, in my opinion, group shots, but they set it up in a way that
looks like it takes
one
about
of
10
two
years to make.
things. It's almost like the people interested in being in the shots, because it's so like, it's not candid. It's like, it is like a film set.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a delicate balance between.
We've got a wedding
like,
with them coming up in a few months, so we're gonna see what it's actually like. Because I feel like their work, it looks like it takes like days to do. It doesn't look like it was on the day. So I'm interested to find out like the real way of how they capture days. But yeah, final question, because it's just come to me. I've remembered it on my phone, which was favourite venue. Now that's a difficult question, because you can never say this one particular.
Do we have favourite venue abroad, favourite venue UK?
Yeah, because you've been abroad a lot, haven't you?
Been everywhere, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, I do them all over the UK.
Don't want to upset anyone.
No. My favourite venue is a venue with really nice available light.
Okay.
I'm
No
not thinking
names?
of anywhere in specific.
Oh, right,
off the top of my head. But, you know, the Palm House is nice, because I like the floristry in there is good. Sometimes I've posted that on Instagram before and put like, they went to town with the florist on this one, and it makes it look like extra special floristry stuff. But oh man, that's such a hard question to ask. What question?
Well, we haven't got a favourite venue, because we love all of you. We don't want to upset anyone. No, it is hard. I think it's more, I think people who are planning weddings have that, like, they don't know where to look sometimes, and I think they go just on Google and go, so it's just another way of finding them. So if people are on your page, I'm sure you obviously collab or tag venues. That's another way of.
I feel that bad that I can't think of anywhere specific, but
You're married, aren't you?
I've got a different way of flipping that over. Where's the furthest you've ever been for a wedding?
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka.
Wow, that's far, isn't it? I'm like, I sound like a proper GCSE geography kid.
Not that I'm
That's
putting
far,
anyone on
that.
the spot here, but there was a couple whose wedding I captured last year, which they'll know. And off the back of it, we had such a synergy, like the way you said before about how personal you can be with someone, that you give them an 11 because they're giving you their whatever they're giving you. They're putting their passion in you because they're just excited to have you there. And they're originally from Sri Lanka, so they had their like wedding here, if you like, which was quite a simple yet beautiful setup. Prescott Registry Office, and then after, and we did a pre-couple shoot at the beach. But they said off the back of it that they would consider taking me to Sri Lanka to do this because of that synergy, which shows just how important it might be.
Do you need any filmmakers to do
Well, you
just
know.
going back to what Beth said before about not letting the weather affect your wedding day. When I was in Sri Lanka, it was a really nice wedding. The couple were from, the groom was from Denmark, the bride was from Finland, they lived in Canada, got married in Sri Lanka, booked their wedding photographer from Mughal. And but they had this like whole beach set up outside for the meal, right? They got married on the beach, and then they had these tables and chairs surrounded by these palm trees, and it was sunset and all the candles were lit, and it was stunning. Like, you can just picture it in your head.
Yeah,
now.
I have just pictured
And
it.
Take me there.
the first course was about 80% of the way through, and then it just absolutely lashed down, lashed down, and there's just chefs were
Tropical
running in. It was,
weather as well.
Everything, and then everything just got shoved into this like under canopy thing, which was just like awful aesthetically. Do you know what I mean? But they just didn't let. They just had the best time.
Yeah.
They just looking around. You could see it in their eyes. They were just looking around, thinking, "Just look who's come here!" Like it was amazing. Like, do you know what I mean? And the energy and like the atmosphere was just fantastic. Do you know what I mean? The aesthetics got dropped from being out at the beach, but
the energy went up.
It was just brilliant. Like, it was really good for them.
Always look on the bright side. No one ever, take things so literal, because people do. Like, I can see on people's days they let it ruin it for them. So I think that's nice that you've given that story, so people who are on their wedding day and it is raining, they can go.
It's all about
make the most of it, isn't it?
The weddings are just about people. I've said that. Like, sunshine and beaches and backdrops are all beautiful, aren't they? But like, do you know what I mean? If you're on your deathbed flicking through your wedding album, you're going to be like, oh, I wish we didn't do it in that, like, dingy little hole. You'd just be looking at the people thinking, these matter, like, or, do you know what I mean? If people pass away and you're looking back at the album to look at the people, you're going to go, oh, there's a great picture of my great-grandma, but, it's a shame we did it in the Iceland car park. You'd just be happy with just seeing them in the pictures. It's
that connection, isn't it? Through the image, seeing someone that you love, and with that raw emotion, especially if it's a candid shot as well, being like, oh my God, I've got that forever.
Do you think there's a problem? This is a small way ties back into this content creator world, that everything is sometimes thought of through social media eyes now. And I'm talking about brides and grooms as well, like the way you'd have like backdrops or whatever. And some photographers do this as well. They'll put like the bride and groom quite little in the corner because the backdrop's so magnificent. What does it become more about, the setting or the people? And I question myself all the time, because I feel like sometimes I don't involve enough of the setting and it's more about the people in a small way. And I don't know if I'm doing that right or wrong, but obviously.
Well, I think it's a lot of people will pick their locations based on the setting. Do you know what I mean? So I think doing photos like that, like especially when a couple have booked a location because of the location, which is more often than not, it's good to include, at least take those photos of the location, and if you can get them in it as well, even if it's just brief ones. If there's like really nice rolling hills, they might not look like, the Dolomites or El Cap in America, whatever. There might just be some nice English rolling hills, and you might think, it's pretty boring getting a couple in there. It's not very creative. It's not going to get me loads of likes or whatever. But it'll be important to them. When they've gone for a site visit, they'll have looked around, gone, oh, isn't this good, nice? So like, to get them in those shots, it is really nice.
We've started asking that question literally on Zoom calls, haven't we? Like, I don't even know why I started asking it, but I think I one time just said, obviously you've picked your venue / location for a particular reason, and a certain part of that space you've seen somebody else in and possibly envisaged yourself in. So rather than me turn up and try and like assume that's what you want, to tell me, and not that I'm trying to replicate, but I also want to like make sure you got what you wanted, type of thing.
Yeah, good question I ask actually on Zoom. Is it like, if I was to have like a fire in my office, and I tell them about how well backed up the photos are before I tell them this. But if I was to say, oh, listen, there's been an accident and there's 4 pictures left from your wedding, that's it. Like,
what for would you want to do?
What for would they be? And they might just say, oh, just me, just me and me mum.
Stealing that, yeah.
It's good, and it's like that adds value to people. Like, you mean? So like, it's not stealing. Like, I encourage everyone to ask that question, because it's good for them to get the most out of their couples, because we're in the service of pleasing couples. So if that benefits them, then that's good. And then you get a sense of what they want. Do you know what I mean? If it's just like, oh, there'd be no guests in those pictures, it'd just be like the bride goes, just portraits of me.
Just me by the window with me bokeh like this.
I know.
That makes sense.
4 different variations.
That's a really good way of looking at it, I think, because I'm not even relating this to the Simpsons movie at all, but it's like there's this shot in the Simpsons movie where Marge runs out with like the wedding video or something like that. The house is burning down, and like I have never.
I was wondering where that was going.
I know, myself. She runs out with she leaves Maggie in the house, but she gets the video. But it is that thing, like, people. That's a great question, and you get the answer.
I think you're shaping it up for it, because I think we've said this as well. Because we're going right off here, aren't we?
Yeah.
About how sometimes people make the wedding like this, like, fictional character of themselves and that space, and kind of forget the true essence of why they were there in the first place. I think COVID really tapped in a lot to like people's true emotions of what they wanted, because a lot of them still went ahead with less guests, less of an affluent place, like whatever it might have been, because they kind of almost rediscovered the original reason of why they got married in the first place.
You can be sincere with that question.
You all right?
Oh yeah.
Be sincere with that question as well. It's not like a sales marketing technique.
No,
to
I know,
go,
yeah.
Oh yes, they're gonna book me now. Watch this. Like it's important because like if you ask that question, it shows them that you really care, and they're gonna go, this guy really cares. And I actually really care because it just helps me. Like if they say, oh, it'd just be like just the ones that just the two of us when we're having some alone time. That I know that when I go to do the alone time pictures, that like I say, I'm able to go to that 11. Not that I do, if they don't mention that, I'm going to shoot less. You know what I mean? It just means that, like, when you're thinking about how important these pictures are, like, these are the saving a fire pictures, these. It just helps you give you that extra pressure, whatever.
Do you know what I love? And maybe you've had this as well. How many people, going back the other way around it, and not about them, will just say, just make sure you get loads of pictures of me, Nan. Yeah. Or just make sure you get loads of pictures of the kids and stuff like that. I think asking that question opens that up, isn't it? Because you know that you're going to over-deliver in those areas then. You know, we had a wedding towards the end of last year who's the father of the groom, to not name names or anything, had an illness that was kind of decreasing his life scale. And they told us about that before the wedding day. And we were so honed in on the emotion of those people and what that will mean to those people when we deliver their photo and film back, which will be soon. It just made everything for us that 11 experience. Do you know what I mean? Like
the emotion side as well. I think for us, I think for us with this job, it's a very emotional day anyway. So you become naturally emotionally connected. And I think when you see stories like that, you relate it to your own life, and you think, oh my God, how much this is going to mean to them, because it means so much to me. So I think everyone who's getting married, always make sure that you let us know what's important to you, because you know we'll figure it out in the end if you didn't tell us, but it's better to tell us beforehand.
Shooting weddings helps with my own marriage and being a dad and being a husband, because you hear people these speeches, which is I love my wife, and I wasn't wedding photographer, I'd still try my best and be the best husband I can forever. But when you hear the speeches and they talk about things, and it's like, thank you for making me a cup of tea every morning, and you hear these little things in speeches.
Every morning, once a year, don't get too
once a year, Mother's Day, that's it.
But it just makes me think that, oh man, like she really appreciates that, and like it's easy to forget to make your missus a cup of tea in the morning. So, but you just hear these little things, and it just makes, when I hear these things at speeches, it just makes me realise like how much I love my wife and how much I love being a family man and stuff. And then I go back, and it helps me be a better person. So thanks to all the brides and grooms out there for making us better people.
That is the most loveliest way to end the podcast.
Well, perfect ending apart from our gift back.
Do you want to include it?
Hey, of course we are.
Ryan.
So obviously you got us a little gift, which we're very, very thankful for. And we'll be pride of place. It'll be the first gift we've received, by the way, so that makes it even more special.
It does.
Can I have it? I want it with its own shelf. And
it's going to be on the shelf.
Everyone else can go.
If you understood how these shelves look when they're set up, you'll understand that there's 3 key shelves in the centre and loads of shelves off the side.
It's going in the centre.
It's going in the centre.
We're getting a stand for that.
But we started this little thing recently where we were giving out to people who come on our show something back, because we can't expect to receive and not give. Not a big deal, not as good as that.
Watch the wires.
You might have noticed it already.
Oh, you've put it on.
You've been sitting there.
Oh wow.
Waiting for you, mate.
There we go.
You're welcome.
Nice.
It's just a little cup, just like a little, a little thing. Anyone else? Anyone else take a picture?
No, is that the one that camera's on me?
Yeah,
there you go.
We'll screenshot that.
But that's just like a little thing. That's just a little gesture from us.
Well, next time I'm working,
because we love to share.
Remind me of you guys and hanging out.
And thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. And I feel like, but there's so much more we could have discussed and spoke about. I could have sat here all day and talked about it.
But
I feel like if you would, after we've done a few more, FEDWED, events and stuff like that, it'd be great to get you back on to let us know how things are going.
And bring your mentor with you, Adam.
Bring your mentor as well, yeah. So
we'll come as FEDWED for that.
Cool.
Boss.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks for having me. See you later.